Hello students, today we will discuss about the periodical literature of the 18th century. Okay, first हमारा beginning of the periodical literature. A periodical is a magazine with a distinct literary flavor, published at regular intervals, weekly, monthly, quarterly, etc. In the fullness of time, the periodical essay was one of the brain of Richard Steele. Previous to the publication of the Tatler, the famous periodical started by Steele, the immediate forerunner of the Spectator journalism in England, had been of the most marked and untrustworthy character. In its earliest days, it confined itself chiefly to the publication of news from abroad, home news of a political nature being forbidden by the abolition of the Star Chamber in nature being forbidden. A luge was given to the expression of political opinion in various genres representative of the royalist and the Republican causes sprang into existence. Okay. Next, Daniel Defoe's The Review. There were the early attempts in journalism prior to Daniel Defoe, who with his review gave the start to the periodical essay. If the essayist may be distinguished from the journalist and the political pamphleteer, Defoe was an essayist, more the disciple than the master of his Steele. He was a great realist, and at every point he touched the hardest reality. The review is vast collections of articles which are essays in the same sense as the leaders of a modern newspaper are essays. The point at which the review touches the periodical essays in the section called Mercury Scandal or Advice from the Scandals Club, which is further described as being a weekly history of nonsense, impertinence, vice, and debauchery. Next is Richard Steele's The Tatler. Defoe review supplied the hint to Steele, who happily worked out the idea in the Tatler, of which the first number appeared on April 12, 1709. Steele himself was the best expositor of his own design in the dedication of the first volume to Mr. Mainwaring. He says, "The general purpose of this paper is to expose the false art to life, to pull off the disguise of cunning, vanity, and affectations, and to recommend a general simplicity in our dress, our discourse, and our behavior." The paper was to contain account of gallantry and our behavior, pleasure and entertainment, poetry, learning, foreign and domestic news, under the pseudonym of Bickerstaff. Next is Steele and Editions, The Spectator's Papers. Steele and Edition joined hands and brought the publication of The Spectator, the first issues of which appeared on March 11, 1711. It was a daily paper. Steele and Edition were coadjutors from the start. Next is the aim of the Spectator papers. The object of the Spectator papers was to portray the life of the 18th century people and present that life in such a graceful, humorous, and elegant style that the pupil may themselves know their own defects and remedy them in the light of suggestion dropped from the author of the paper. It was thus an organ of social criticism, literary discussion, and moral edification. It was the endeavor of the edition in this paper to enliven morality with wit and to temper wit with morality. His ambition was to have with his name the association of a moral philosopher who brought philosophy out of closets and libraries and colleges to dwell in clubs and assemblies, at tea tables and coffee houses. Next, its moral aim. Secondly, it may be observed that underlying this cavalcade of life, the moral object of the author is very clear through his homilies, moral dissertations, and satirical exposures. Edition wanted to give a jolt to the manners of the age and set them on the path of morality and philosophy. The vices of the times, the fox hunting and cockfighting, the dance and gambling boards, the fashionable concierge of ladies are intended to be exposed by the author. Okay. Next is characterization. In the spectator papers, we have character sketches, the best of them being that of Sir Roger de Coverley, Sir Andrew Freeport, Captain Santry, and the Templar. The characters thus grouped represent considerable classes or sections of the community, and are, as a rule, men of strongly marked opinion, prejudices, and foibles, which furnish matter of comment to the common sense. Sir Roger is one of the treasures of English literature and may be regarded as the precursor of the novel of character in 19th century. Next is the art of criticism. These periodicals gave a great impetus to literary criticism. Edition was also a critic in the Spectator papers. He wrote not only on elaborate critique on Paradise Lost, but the papers on tragedy, wit, and imagination, and those on criticism as well. These papers popularized criticism, and their value has been recognized by Wordsworth. Next is style of edition. The style of edition at its best is found in the Spectator paper. Edition gave a new turn to English prose, and the style of the Spectator paper is elegant and sweet. It is by way of admiration for the simplicity, grace, ease, and fineness of these papers that Dr. Johnson says, whoever wishes to attain an English style, familiar but not coarse, and elegant but not ostentatious, must give his days and night to the volumes of edition. Next, the popularity of the Spectator papers. The popularity of the Spectator paper was very great. The success of the Spectator was immediate and paramount. The number of copies daily distributed was at first 3,000. It subsequently increased and had risen to nearly 4,000 when the stamp tax was imposed. Okay, next still is the Guardian and Swift's Journal to Stella. After the Spectator, we notice a flood of critical essays. The best of all was Still's Guardian, which had a run of 175 numbers. A critic says if the Spectator had not existed, the Guardian might outrank all periodical of this kind, but it is shaded by its prestigious Englishman. The successor of the Guardian was even more politically vast. Next, Johnson's The Idler on the Rambler. In the second half of the 18th century, the political essay showed a tendency to get incorporated into the newspaper. The series of about 100 papers of Dr. Johnson called The Idler was contributed to a niche paper, The Universal Chronicle. These papers are lighter and shorter than those published in the periodical paper, The Rambler. Next, Oliver Goldsmith's political essays. Oliver Goldsmith also wrote many political essays. His week ran to only 8 weekly numbers. The Citizen of the World, Goldsmith's best work, a collection of essays which originally appeared in the Public Ledger as Chinese letters. Goldsmith's essays are rich in human details, a quivering sentimentalism, and candidates of spirit. Next, the development of modern prose style. The periodical essays in the hands of Defoe edition, Steele and Goldsmith helped in the development of modern prose style. The style of Browne, Warton, Hooke, and Milton was wide and erratic, humorous, and often obscure and vague. With Latinized constructions, it could not be adapted to novel writing, to scientific exposition, to historical, political, philosophical, and journalistic realism. It was the periodical essays which gave rise to the modern prose style characterized by clarity, lucidity, precision, correctness, and free from affections. Okay. It may be said of Goldsmith that he is uniformly pleasing, and this is a higher praise which a literary man can ever achieve.